Hello everyone, this is Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. I want to give you a couple of things before we move on to the messages. First and foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. My intention is always to give you helpful information that will allow you to know yourself deeply. So whether it is something to think about or something that will allow you to do things differently, or I give you a suggestion or idea, Spirit is here to help you to understand yourself better so that you can have freedom and more choices. Whatever signs you're listening to, whichever is your sign, sometimes you'll be guided to see a sign that doesn't belong to you, and you will find that the information there also applies to you. The way I work with my team is I try to bring information that is of most relevance to everyone in all life, including practical knowledge and practical advice. What I'm trying to say here is listen to your other signs as well as signs you normally wouldn't listen to but you are drawn to. Also, this month, for some reason, I recorded two messages for Gemini. I don't know how I did it. Never have done it before in the last 2.5, 3 years. And I've done them on the same day. It's almost as if I had amnesia. So you will notice that there is a Gemini reading 1 and Gemini message 2, video 1 and video 2. Listen to both. For some of you, both will apply. For some of you, one will apply over the other. I was asked, what do I do with this now? And the suggestion was given to me that I release both of them. So if you're a Gemini, consider this as a bonus month for you and see which one applies to you, perhaps both. And of course, for any messages that you are looking for, or any inside information on your personal life, these messages are general. You're welcome to connect with me. That information is down below for you. More than anything, I thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing and for sharing. I always am so grateful to be able to do this for you, and it is what brings me a great joy. So thank you so much. If you would like to comment how these messages apply to you, I would love to read them. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself and see you soon. Let's move on. Hello, beautiful Libra. These are going to be your spirit messages for the month of November 2018. Okay, let me tune in first and see what it is that I'm picking up for you energetically for the month of November. The one thing that I keep getting right off the bat is it's important for me to say that the responsibility for your happiness lies in your own hands. And I feel like I've been saying this to a lot of people lately. And I feel like Spirit, the universe, God, whatever you call it, is helping us achieve, is getting out of certain ideologies that we hold dear to ourselves that keep us stuck and sometimes stuck in denials. So for the month of November, the word courage is being shown or given to you as something to think about. Courage in terms of standing up for yourself. For some of you, it's standing up for your rights. For some of you, it's courage to come out in the open. For some of you, it's courage to expose yourself in some way, abilities, creativity, whatever it may be. And for some of you, this is courage facing something perhaps that's uncomfortable, and also courage to face the mirror. So there is a message here that's being highlighted in terms of looking closely and digging deep into certain areas of your life in order to recognize their significance in terms of what it means to you, but also how you can organize your life in a different way in order to achieve what you want. What I just said makes no sense to me, so let's go with the cards. Hopefully it'll be tied up at the end, which is often what happens. When I tune into this energy, I try to do my best to not bastardize it with my own mind, and I'm doing my best to let my mind get out of the way. So sometimes I don't really understand the statement that's being said. My mind has to think about it later. Okay. Bottom line is, they're asking me to say is month of November is going to be a month where many of you will need to have some courage to face some things about you perhaps that you don't like. And it needs your attention now because many of you are leaving or ending a certain cycle, and you're about to start a brand new journey. And this is going to mean something to some of you. It's going to be nothing to some of you. So depending on who you are, where you are in life, these things will mean different things to different people. Point is that there is a need to face some things, to look in the mirror, to look at some things inside in order to recognize certain patterns. So that's the overall message that I'm getting for the month of November. And this is particularly for those of you who feel like you are stuck, like you are hooked into something that you don't like you feel like you have no choices, you feel stuck. Some of you, it's feeling resigned about certain area. A lot of what I feel is it's earth energy. So for most of you, this will be around money. This will be around security. This will be around love. Things that are visible to us, things that we can feel, things that we can touch, tangible things. And relationships is one of those things. Okay, so the first card represents what is your strength or what is your weakness in the month of November. And you have the Cosmic Egg, which is the last card in this particular deck. It signifies a completion, coming to an end of a cycle. For some of you, this will be a karmic cycle where you have struggled with some aspect in your life for many, many lifetimes. Do I need to go further with this? No. So for some of you karmic, you will understand what that means. It also signifies that it is more likely than not something that you've struggled with for quite some time in this particular lifetime. So as a strength, it is telling me that there are things happening behind the scenes in order to help you achieve a certain level of completion. And a lot of it has to do with your cognition. What does that mean? Cognition, I guess, is the way you recognize things, the way you think about things, the way you recognize things yourself. Cognition. I'm going to have to look up that word later. That's English is my second language. So there is things happening behind the scenes to help you achieve that. For some of you, this means that you may have some tower moments, and tower moments to me represent a bit of a shake-up, a change in situations in order to create something new, something different, something for some of you that's drastically very different, yet at the same time much more grounded than what you are leaving behind. So the tower moment is not going to be for everybody. I see the tower moment as something great because I see it as things needing to be discarded in order for new things to come forward. It's also about creating a brand new stability. A lot of this has to do with awareness. So this is as a strength. As a weakness, it symbolizes to me that it may expose some of your patterns, some of your weaknesses, if you will, which may not feel very comfortable. And generally speaking, when we look at our shadows, it is typically never comfortable. I've been doing this for a long time, and as a therapist for about 15 years. So I know that facing our own stuff is not necessarily the easiest thing. However, most of you in the month of November will be faced with something in one form or another that will help you think, shift, and reflect upon certain things in your life. When I asked for what is your responsibility in the month of November, in other words, what it is that you need to address, what are some of the things that you need to be responsible in the month of November, the card you have is called Magical Map Shifter, but it came up in the reverse position. So when I tune into this card, the message here is have courage to face your not blindness per se. Have courage to face your lack of self-knowledge. What does that mean? It means that some of you will need to face some things that you have been in denial about for quite some time. Let me just continue doing this. So how do you know if you're in denial? Well, you keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and you're not understanding why you're not getting a different result each and every time. So an example would be dating the same type of an individual and trying to have a wonderful relationship, yet the individuals that you date seem to cause you trouble, and despite the fact that they cause you trouble, you keep keeping them around. So hoping they're going to change one day, and you are with this person for quite some time and nothing is changing, and you're still wondering what's wrong. Well, what is wrong in this equation is that you keep accepting things you don't want. So you need to ask yourself the question why. If you are in a position where things are not working out the way you would have hoped or you would have liked, and you've tried your best to create something better for yourself, and despite the fact that you have been trying your best to create something better, something different, it still isn't working. It's still evading you. If that is the case, and you've been doing it for a while, you need to ask yourself this question, the question why. Why do I continue doing what I'm doing despite the fact that I'm not getting what I'm getting? Now, the reason why this is coming up, and this is going to be for some of you in relationships, for some of you this is going to be in work situations where you are letting yourself to be pushed around and you're having difficult time standing up for yourself. For some of you, this is going to be about accepting behaviors around certain people that you don't like, yet not having enough courage to have boundaries. As a matter of fact, the octopus is a card or is a message that does talk about lack of boundaries. So many of you, this is going to be around boundaries, around the idea of boundaries and the boundaries you have for yourself or don't have for yourself. So this message here talks about things we are blinded to, things we are either choosing not to do or to see, or we are not seeing. Now, what some of you may say, well, how do I know how to address it if I'm not seeing what I'm seeing? And that's a great question. So what I'm going to say here is that if something comes up in the month of November where it makes you feel uncomfortable, discouraged, not triggered in some way, address that with what has been said here and see if you can make more sense out of this. In other words, it will be different for different people because each situation will be very different for different lives. But it is about facing things that you are choosing not to see or have chosen not to see for quite some time. Remember, many of you are ending a very karmic cycle, which means you have been dealing with this for quite some time. So it will be something that has repeated itself in your life over and over and over again. And it's time to face the truth, time to face the mirror. So the next card represents addictions or attachments. And I said, okay, what it is that they need to face. And the card of belief systems came up, and how appropriate. Couldn't have scripted this myself better. What this is symbolizing to me is that many of you need to look at your belief system that is in fact keeping you stuck, keeping you in denial, keeping you where you are, particularly where you are not comfortable with. Because we're not talking about comfortable moments. We're talking about things that we want to address that are not working. Those are the things that give us the most anxiety. Those are the reasons why you watch these videos, because you want some guidance for yourself, typically speaking. So it is examining belief system. For some of you, this is around love. How you connect to the idea of love. What are your truths about loving somebody or being loved. Also, in terms of love and security, what are some of the belief systems that you have around love and security? Are you one of those individuals that believes that love is not safe, and therefore you're going to create a wall for yourself in order to avoid certain disappointments? That kind of a belief system will always, perhaps keep you safe. As a matter of fact, no, it won't, because if somebody wants to hurt you, there is no wall big enough for you to prevent that from happening. But what it will do, it will prevent you from receiving what you are wanting. In other words, the door that you create for yourself, the boundaries, the walls, protection walls, will prevent you from receiving, and that's a difficult thing. I asked for more information what this is regarding. Queen of Pentacles in reverse was being shown to me. So right off the bat, for many of you, this is going to be around financial difficulties. This queen here, let me just see what I get from her. So Queen of Pentacles is, just because it's a woman, it doesn't mean you have to be a female. It could be male or female. It makes no difference, because this is a general message. But this to me represents symbolically someone in charge of, in this case, this is someone in charge of their earthly possession, someone who is very secure. In this position, it talks to me about not having security when it comes to physical things. So for some of you, this is going to be literally around not enough money, having a belief system when it comes to abundance that is around luck. And I don't mean L-U-C-K, I mean L-A-C-K, meaning there is not enough. Now, if your belief system around love and security is more geared toward a negative, that will absolutely affect the money component. Why? Well, because we think of security in terms of physical things as money. Money to us represents security. If fundamentally speaking, we are coming from a truth that we don't feel secure enough in ourselves, or you feel that life is not secure, or you've come from a place where you did not experience a lot of security emotionally, physically, spiritually, or otherwise, chances are you will have difficulty finding financial freedom, because finances, which we think of as security, your belief system is that there isn't none. There is no security. So you'll have difficulty attracting it. And perhaps for some of you, this is what you are in denial on. For some of you, you keep giving yourself away. You keep practicing, what does that mean? Self-indulgence around, what does that mean? Some of you practice giving to another in order to validate yourself. Let me just see if I can expand on that. Again, some of you may have a lot of gifts in giving, but you do not have as much when it comes to receiving. What I'm trying to say, because I feel like I'm getting a little bit convoluted, what I'm trying to say is that many of you are coming from the belief of lack inside of you. Not enough money, not enough people to help me, not enough safety and security in the world. You guys know what that means. I mean, it can be termed a gazillion different ways. Point is, some of you need to look at those belief systems, because some of you are not seeing it or choosing not to see it. If you are one of those individuals that at least in the past had a tendency to blame somebody else for your misfortunes, that will absolutely make, financially speaking, make difficulties in order for you to attract. Because if you blame others for your misfortunes, you unfortunately get into the victimhood mentality. And when we get into that trap, and I feel most of us do it on some level, to some degree, at certain points of our lives, And if we catch ourselves, that's, it's totally fine. Problem is when we get stuck in it, we then blame the whole world for our problems and misfortunes. And as a result, we become angry and we become resentful. And if that's the case for some of you, you may want to notice if that is in fact your belief system. The reason why we do these things is because they generally come from a place of pain. Somewhere down the road, you have experience a lot of disappointments, hurts, rejection, whatever it is that we all go through, and you have held on to it for too long. It has clouded your thinking, clouded your vision, and definitely clouded your idea about you. So notice what some of the beliefs you have about you as a person, as someone who contributes to society, as a friend, as a lover, if that applies to you, as a mother, if that applies to you, as a father, if that applies to you. Notice what are some of the things that you say about yourself. And notice if your belief system about you needs some tweaking. You may ask, why is this important for me to know? It's everyday stuff. Yes, it is everyday stuff. But the reason why is because you are coming to an end of a chapter, and it's important for you to shed the old skin in order to release the you that is inside of you, the true you, the one with confidence, the one with inner abundance, the one with a feeling of luck, L-U-C-K, inside of you. And then I said, okay, if they face all this, if they look at their belief systems, what is it that's going to happen? What's the end result? And you have 10 of Wands. The moment I saw this card, I heard it's completion. So 10 is completion. We know this. 10 of Wands is feeling overburdened. And this card to me symbolizes that many of you have felt overburdened or have felt emotionally or financially burdened. I want to say that. And many of you are coming to a place of completion around that for you. So if you are in a work situation where you have been struggling a lot, financially speaking, chances are you'll be able to raise your vibration by looking at your patterns, looking at your belief systems. And as a result, eventually you will be able to attract something better and something different for yourself. For others of you, it is about a struggle in a love life or struggle in a relationship, struggle in a marriage, where perhaps you have overgiven to yourself to another and you have felt overburdened. Facing some things inside of you, looking in the mirror, will allow you to see some things about you, certain perceptions you have about yourself that aren't healthy for you. And if your life is great and nothing is happening that makes you feel uncomfortable, then this isn't for you. Chances are, if you are hearing this, there is something in your life that is either happening right now or will happen. Doesn't have to be anything bad, doesn't have to be anything big, but chances are, if you are listening to this, this is going to serve some purpose in your life. There's one more card they're wanting me to look, and this card is called Into the Unknown. But it's in reverse. So again, the message here is, it is important to have faith, but not blind faith. And now that's a very interesting statement. So I want to go and ask, okay, I asked for a little bit more information on this. So what I want to say about this message here is, don't be stuck to being blindfolded just because you can. What does that mean? Choose to look in the mirror. That's what I want to say. And that's a very similar message. Choose to look in the mirror for the things that you are looking for outside of yourself. Some of you will recognize certain things right away. Some of you will need to do some digging. I'm being asked to give you an example. So, for those of you, for example, who have difficulties with, you struggle around finances, that's going to be a big group of you. If you are one of those individuals that is at least currently struggling with financial flow, financial abundance, financial security. Notice if this is something that has been a pattern for you in other times, in other years. If this has been a pattern for you, ask yourself this question. What is it about myself that attracts to me this situation that makes me feel not secure? And you need to be able to ask yourself that question in order to come up with an answer. This is not an exercise for self-blame. Rather, this is an exercise for self-mastery, for when we allow ourselves to be honest and truthful with ourselves. Self-mastery can be the end result of this exercise. So it's important for you to face some truths. Courage, again, the word courage is being underlined. The number 10 is, again, number of completion. Cosmic egg is the completion card. I can't seem to say it any other way. This is about you balancing the scales, your Libra. It is about emotionally becoming much more balanced inside of you in order for you to attract what it is that you're after. On the other hand, if you are someone who constantly struggles with certain kinds of relationships, let's say you are in a relationship or you have had relationships, friends or lovers, doesn't matter, or family members, when you constantly overgive, and that seems to be the pattern for you, you need to ask yourself this question. What is it about me that believes that I need to do this in order to get whatever it is that you get when you overgive? Because when we overgive, we come from the place of lack. We overdo something in order to compensate for something else. And most of us run around doing things like chickens without head. We don't even know why we're doing it most of the time, because we've been conditioned to think a certain way, and that condition becomes our subconscious belief system, and we automatically just respond. So many people live on autopilot, myself included. I always try to have my eyes open to see where my blind spots are. So self-reflection for the month of November is extremely important for most of you who are going to hear this. If this doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of the month, look at it even at the beginning of December, because I feel quite a bit of you will recognize what I'm talking about. It is about facing patterns in terms of safety and security predominantly, whether financial security, security around love, security around friendship, just general security, sense of self-security. Notice if that is something that you've been struggling with for quite some time. And is there anything, I'm seeing the number 15. 15, I believe, is the devil. Yes, that's 15, I believe, yes. So if 15 may mean something to you entirely very different, 15 in this case also represents to me facing your demons, the things that keep you bound, the things that keep you stuck, the things that keep you attracting less of what you want, the things that keep you stuck in your internal prison, the things that keep you attached, unhealthy in various ways. So take a look at what that is. Again, the tower is being shown to me, and by looking at your old beliefs and examining your patterns, you will be able to free yourself from a certain confinement. And I think that's all I have. And then I just got an exclamation mark. So for many of you, this is going to be a very important month. Not because there's anything bad happening, but because there are big opportunities for you to shift yourself. And when we begin to see things differently, we, vibrationally speaking, shift our vibration. So I don't know if we go up and down or sideways. I don't know how that works, but when our vibration shifts, all of a sudden we start attracting different things. You guys know what this means. We've talked about that many times. It's similar as saying law of attraction. Every time you shift your awareness, energetically you shift your vibration. And whatever vibration you vibrate, you will attract more of the same or more of like energy. So it's important that if you have any cracks in your foundation, that you face them fair and square in order to not repeat the same patterns. And with that, I congratulate you for facing those things inside of you, because it's not easy. I wish you best of luck. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. Of course, for private messages or for private sessions about you, that information is down below for you. Take care of yourself. Give yourself a lot of credit, pat on the back for having done so well. And I want to say it's time to move on to bigger and better things. So create that for yourself. Again, best of luck to you. Take care and see you soon.